What is up, YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Teaching Trends. My name is Carla, and today's trend we're going to talk about is clinical intake and medical records. I want to welcome everyone who is returning to my channel, and welcome to all of those new subscribers who may be watching. Here at Teaching Trends, we teach all about healthcare trends, work from home trends, and of course, YouTube trends. So if you want to take a look at some of those trending playlists, take a look up here to the right of your screen throughout this video, and I'll be placing some of those playlists so you can find out what's trending. That being said, let's get started. Today, we're going to talk about clinical intake. If you did not watch my last video, we talked about patient registration. Today, we're going to talk about another step in the clinical intake process, another area that you could work, and we'll talk a little bit about some of those jobs that you could get in the clinical intake process. So let's get started in this simulation. You'll be able to watch and practice along with me as I will link the simulation in the description and in the comments. I almost couldn't talk today. In the description and in the comments, I will link this simulation. So let's get started with the clinical intake process.
This lesson features different learning activities and in a typical patient visit, the workflow starts with the patient requesting an appointment. Various members of the clinic staff participate in the workflow until the visit is completed and the patient checks out with a care plan. In this lesson, you'll focus on clinical intake. The clinical intake workflow begins with the new patient arriving for the scheduled appointment. The first step is to create a new encounter in the EMR system. Next, you'll record the patient's chief complaints, systems checks, patient medical history, and family medical history. You'll also record any allergies, medications, and immunizations, and then finally record the vital signs for the patient. As you move ahead in the lesson, you'll learn how to complete each of these steps in OpenEmr. On this screen, you can select any step from the workflow diagram if you wish to learn about it in detail.
Hi, I'm Paul, a medical assistant with the Northwest Physicians Practice. In a few minutes, a new patient named Elena Ginsberg will be coming in for a checkup. I'll use her appointment to take you through the clinical intake workflow. I'll first need to log into the system. Elena has arrived, so I take her to the exam room. I ask her how she's feeling today and learn that she's been feeling tired and short of breath lately. I want to record this information for the doctor. Since Elena is a new patient, I'll also need to record her medical history. But my first step is to create a new patient encounter. In this activity, I'll demonstrate the process of creating an encounter for a new patient in the EMR. You can review individual steps in the process by selecting the Task Step box at the bottom right of the Show Me screen. On the Login page, I'll enter my username and password and then select the Login button. Logging into the EMR opens up the calendar screen. This screen lists the scheduled appointments of patients. Before we move ahead, take a moment to learn about the different menus of the calendar screen. You can either select the items on the calendar screen or use the Tab and Enter keys to start exploring. If you prefer to continue with the demonstration, select the Play button. I'll locate Elena Ginsberg's name in the appointments list on the calendar page. Elena's appointment record has the start time as 2 p.m., a hyphen that indicates her appointment status as none, and her name. Now that Elena has arrived, the appointment status should be updated to Arrive. I'll select the start time. Selecting the start time opens the Edit Event dialog box. This box was filled with information about Elena's appointment at the time it was scheduled. Before I edit the appointment status, take a moment to learn about the different items in the Event dialog box. To start exploring, you can either select the different items in the Event dialog box or use the Tab and Enter key. If you prefer to skip this step, select the Play button. I'll select the drop-down arrow in the Status field to open the menu. Select At Arrived and then select the Save button. A system-generated message appears. It reads, "The page at openemr.emr-star.org says, New encounter created with ID 81. By default, OpenEmr has generated an empty encounter when I set the status to Arrived.
An empty encounter is you creating a record for a patient so that the doctor can start documenting, or so you can start the clinical intake process of gathering their information for a patient complaint, for their office visit, for their symptoms they are having, whatever they call it at your medical facility.
I'll select OK to close the dialog box. I am back on the calendar screen. Elena's appointment now shows an @ symbol that indicates to other users her status as arrived. To open the new encounter, I'll select Elena's name from the appointment list. This will open the patient summary screen for Elena. Before we move on, take a moment to explore the patient summary screen. You can either select the different items of the patient summary screen or use the Tab and Enter key to explore it. If you prefer to just continue with the demonstration, select Play. To record Elena's information in her patient record, I'll want to open today's encounter. I'll open the Encounter History menu and then select the encounter with today's date. An encounter summary page for this appointment opens in the lower pane. All forms that will be recorded for the patient for this encounter will get listed on this page.
Remember, an encounter is an office visit. So if they're saying an encounter, they're meaning an office visit or an encounter where you're going to be seeing the doctor and you will be receiving treatment. So an office visit is often referred to as an encounter.
This page has various buttons and fields. Before we proceed, take a moment to learn about the different items in the Encounter Summary page. To start exploring, you can either select the different items in the Add User dialog box or use the Tab and Enter keys. If you prefer to just continue with the Show Me demonstration, select the Play button. To add Elena's complaint, I'll select the Edit button. A new patient encounter form with a text entry box for consultation brief description opens. I'll enter Elena's complaint, short of breath and fatigued, in this box, and then select the Save button. The encounter summary page for the appointment opens again. The complaint that I added is updated as the reason in this encounter. You've completed the Show Me activity for creating a new patient encounter and entering patient complaint.
So you'll be able to review this activity again, and you'll be able to practice. I will put the link to this clinical intake process in there that you could practice, and you'll be able to put this skill on your resume. OpenEmr is a real working copy of an EMR that is used internationally. This is a simulation of that software. So we are going to look for different types of jobs that use clinical intake process. So if we take a look at jobs here, we've got medical intake coordinator, intake correspondent specialist, remote. Every job is going to have different requirements. So let's take a look at some of these requirements. They're looking for someone who has a strong medical office professional or demonstrated knowledge of medical terminology, high school, 1 year experience in clinical intake, and or correspondence with patients or in a care environment. An excellent opportunity to continue to grow your career and even gain new skills in healthcare. Looks like there's lots of great benefits for this opportunity. Let's take a look at another job for a medical intake. This particular one requires an LPN, although all of them won't. Some of them will have particular requirements, so make sure you read. This one looks primarily for triaging calls and referrals, so you will be talking to patients about their symptoms, particularly looks like on the phone or in a remote environment. Remote medical intake coordinator, we have 3 years of verifying insurance. Maybe you've worked in verifying benefits or verifying information over the phone, attention to detail. And let's go in and take a look at what these salaries look like. So we have medical intake coordinator here. Looks like this one was a remote position. I'm on salary.com to see if I can find a salary here. Oh, looks like intake coordinator, 67,000 to 86,000. There are some others. It looks like anywhere from $20 to $35 an hour. Training available in certain organizations, depending on your computer knowledge, background, and any of those types of skills. So definitely take a look at the medical intake coordinator. Looks like a really good job, or a clinical intake coordinator. Definitely something that you should consider and think about as far as a career. Hopefully, you've learned something in a new trending topic. Medical records, EHR, clinical intake, patient registration, scheduling, all of those things are in high demand. So if you could learn a skill and practice, or you have a little practice even using some sort of software in a medical facility, even if it's for a small amount of time, it definitely may be something that you might want to look into. My name is Carla, formerly of Carla's Career Shortcuts, now at Teaching Trends, teaching you all about those trending topics in healthcare, work from home, and even what's trending in the YouTube algorithm. With that being said, everyone, thanks for watching. Please hit that notification bell because it really does help my channel, and take care.